Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. It's a really exciting day for the City of London because we've got a big announcement for you, and I'm pleased to welcome back to the city and back to City Hall Premier Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, of course, Minister Flack, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, also the MPP for part of our city in the south end of the city, great champion for our city, great minister. And I'm really pleased today because I don't get to actually spoil the announcement. That's why you bring the Premier. He gets to give the details. But I do want to talk a little bit about our partnership with the Province of Ontario on housing. It's great that we're here on top of City Hall because we get the backdrop of the city. And just over to my left is One London Place. This building used to be the tallest building in the city for almost 30 years. I think it's 32. But if we look over here, there is a new tallest building that we've constructed during this term of council. And by we, I mean Old Oak and the beautiful Centro building, which is now the new tallest building, a residential building that is housing hundreds of Londoners who are living here right in our downtown core. And this city and this council has been exceptionally permissive on housing, particularly in our core. We've already approved an even taller building at 53 stories, which would be kind of right between those two at the forks of the Thames. We expect that to break ground sometime next year. All this to say, housing doesn't just get built, it gets built through partnership. Housing is a shared responsibility. It involves the municipality, the province, federal government, the development community, not-for-profits, and of course the financial sector. And we know when we work together, we get things done in this city. Council has tried to do its job over the last number of years. A couple of years ago, we did about 4,000 permissions per year. The year after that, we did 5,000. Last year, Council did over 22,000 permissions, municipal housing permissions in this city alone. We have ramped up processes. We're getting housing permitted. We're removing barriers and red tape to processes. We're speeding up our timelines, and we're partnering with the province to get things done. But we know infrastructure is important too, and I want to commend this provincial government, this Premier, this Minister, and Minister Surma and others for the announcement of additional infrastructure dollars that was made just at the AMO conference last week. We welcome this announcement. We're ready to access those dollars. We're ready to put those resources in the ground to build more housing in this city, whether it's downtown, whether it's in our transit villages, along transit corridors, or out in new parts of the city. This council continues to be permitted. I want to recognize that pretty much most of our members of council are joined here today. I'm going to try to get you all, so kind of put your hands up. We got Councillor Pribble, Councillor McAllister, Councillor Rahman, Deputy Mayor Lewis, Councillor Cuddy. Put your hand up if I'm missing you. All right. We've got our city manager, senior city staff, senior planners here. They're all part of the team, too, that makes this happen, and I couldn't be more proud to work with this group. But for this very exciting announcement, I'm very pleased to welcome a champion for housing in this province, a great partner for the City of London, and Minister Flack is going to kick it off first. And so Minister Flack will start it off, and thanks so much for your partnership, Minister.
Well, thanks, Mayor Morgan. Great to be here up high in the great city of London, the Forest City. Thanks to Council who is here. Thanks to Sandra and your team. You do a great job here in London. It's always a great day when your local MPP gets to stand beside the Premier of the day to celebrate a job well done, and that's what we're here to do. Over the past months, the Premier and I have visited a number of cities across the province: Niagara Falls, Kingston, Windsor, Thunder Bay, and most recently last week, Sarnia, to reward success. Today, I am pleased to be making this announcement at home alongside Captain Canada himself, Premier Doug Ford. We all know that we are in the midst of a generational, and I emphasize generational, housing crisis in Ontario, the likes of which we've never seen before. Our province has grown significantly. Today, we are a population of 16 million people. That's double what it was when Councillor Cuddy was back in high school, right, Peter? Well, growth is good and needed. Housing starts have not kept pace. This we know is a fact. As a result, over the years, housing costs have risen to the point where families, first-time home buyers, and seniors are being priced right out of the market. There is a clear demand and a supply issue. Recently, because of these conditions and general market uncertainty, we have seen the housing market come to a standstill. Potential new home buyers have hit the pause button. Questions linger. Will the federal government eliminate the HST on new home builds? Will interest rates come down? Will the price of home construction fall? We need answers to these questions and fast to get our housing industry back on track. We know that the reality we live in today, where so many people are struggling to afford a home, must change and change quickly. That is why we introduced the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund in 2023 to reward municipalities like London that lead by example when it comes to cutting red tape and creating the conditions to get homes built faster. Municipalities do not build homes. Provinces do not build homes. The federal government does not build homes. Builders do. Our collective job as government is to create the conditions for builders to do what they do best, and that is build homes. Through the Building Faster Fund, we are rewarding municipalities who create these conditions with funding for critical housing infrastructure, because we know that you cannot build homes without water access, roads, sidewalks, water systems, and more. However, we are not just stopping there. Recently, Bill 17, the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act, became law just this spring. It was a very piece of comprehensive legislation that will increase certainty for home builders and reduce the time it takes to get shovels in the ground. The stark reality is that it takes too long and it costs too much to build homes in this province. We are changing that. Our goal is simple: to ensure more people can own their own piece of Ontario, their own piece of Canada. After all, it is the quintessential Canadian dream for countless of hardworking families right across our province, and has been for generations before us. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, alongside my colleagues, the building industry, and you, our municipal partners, together we will keep the dream of home ownership alive. Just over a year ago, I stood beside Minister Surma to celebrate almost $24 million to upgrade London's wastewater systems. This investment is enabling the construction of over 17,500 new units and supporting the renewal of the city's urban center. Additionally, announced last week, our government is investing more than $18 million to help improve Sunningdale Road West to enable more housing starts. Councillor Rahman was there for that great announcement. And now, through the Building Faster Fund, we're furthering our efforts to get shovels in the ground and build new homes. The bottom line, folks, our government continues to deliver key investments for London, whether it's housing enabling infrastructure, transportation dollars, healthcare support, supportive housing funding, or new school investments. Premier Ford and I understand and respect the importance London plays in southwestern Ontario's vibrant and growing economy. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our true captain for Canada, Premier Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here in beautiful London. And Mayor, you pulled it off. This is the best backdrop I think we've ever had. And what a beautiful city. And I love that new tallest tower. And I'm sure many more are coming. And I just want to thank you, Mayor, for hosting us. And alongside my all-star minister, Minister Flack, he's an absolute champion, local boy. But I just want to say this doesn't work without the staff and the city council. I've walked a mile in your shoes, and it's a team effort. So, Mayor, thank you for your leadership, and again, the city councilors and all the staff that are here that help make these announcements happen. But you mentioned 22,000 permissions. That's staggering. That is huge. So anything you need on that, we'll be there. Folks, we all know this is a serious time for our province. President Trump's tariffs are taking direct aim at our economy, threatening workers, families, and businesses on both sides of the border. In response, our government is doing everything in our power to make Ontario and Canada the strongest economy in the G7. Our government has a plan to protect Ontario from President Trump's tariffs by building a province that is more competitive, more resilient, and more self-reliant. We're cutting red tape and investing in workers to protect Ontario jobs and businesses and attract new investments to our province. You know, Minister Fidelli was just here meeting with the mayor and myself, and he was saying, Minister of Economic Development and Trade, he said the pipeline is absolutely full of companies that are coming here and investing, and it all comes down to the people. They invest in the people, the quality of life, making sure that we create the environment and conditions for companies to come here. They aren't going to come to a jurisdiction that's heavily taxed, that's anti-business. You know, we're the total opposite. We've lowered and taken the burden off companies by $11 billion to create that environment and the conditions for companies to come here and invest. That includes the $46 billion in investments that Ontario has secured in the vehicle manufacturing and EV battery supply chain. Just down the road from here in St. Thomas, work is about to get underway on the Volkswagen Power Co.'s massive gigafactory complex. And I know many people that live here will be working there, which will employ thousands of Ontario workers for years to come. Last week, PowerCo announced that it has awarded 2 major contracts, which will see hundreds of Ontario workers get started on construction in the next few weeks. It's a fantastic milestone, but one of many to come. Our government is standing squarely behind these investments and the thousands of workers they will support. In the face of President Trump's tariffs, we're also making record investments in roads, highways, transit, hospitals, schools, and homes through our $200 billion plan to build Ontario. These investments will help prepare for growth and keep workers on the job no matter what. Here in London, we're investing more than $220 million to replace bridges and repair and upgrade Highway 401. And through our nearly $60 billion plan to build and upgrade more than 50 hospitals across Ontario, we're expanding London's health science centers, surgical center, and cancer ward. And that's really, really important, so that more people can access life-saving care closer to home. And of course, we're making record investments to get shovels in the ground faster for new homes. That includes a total investment of more than $42 million in projects across London through the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program, which will help pave the way for construction, as I said earlier, 22,500 new homes. And today, I'm here with even more good news. 2 years ago, our government established the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund to encourage municipalities to speed up approvals, issue permits, and get shovels in the ground faster. And London is a perfect example of this. You know, they get things done. Municipalities that hit at least 80% of their housing target will receive funding through this program, with money that can be used for housing and community infrastructure. Today, I'm delighted to announce that the City of London achieved 95%, which is outstanding, of its 2024 housing target, and will receive $11.9 million through the Building Faster Fund. So congratulations, everyone. Again, I want to thank Mayor Morgan, City Council, the city staff for their leadership in helping get more homes built. You know, Mayor, you're an absolute champion for the City of London, and so is your whole team, and I'm so pleased to be able to work with them. I hope this money will be used to help get even more homes built here in London, so I can come back next year with a bigger check, which is always good, with and presenting it to you and the whole team here, Mayor. Again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for having me by today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, buddy.
We will now take questions from the media. Media present can line up behind me and ask their questions through the microphone. As a friendly reminder, the format is 1 question and 1 follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question.
Good morning, Premier. Jack Moulton of the London Free Press.
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Premier, you're here to announce this funding after the city just missed its housing target last year. As the minister talked about, with tough housing forecasts province-wide in the near future, are you willing to consider rewarding cities based on something more within their control, like permissions, like permits being issued, rather than something on the development side that could be subject to economic conditions?
I'm going to pass it over to the minister here.
Well, the short answer is yes. As we were at AMO last week, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and Mayor Morgan was there with the big city mayors, and I gave my commitment then that we will sit down and talk about the criteria for next year's program, or the programs going forward. That being said, the details are not worked out. I understand your point, but still I want to make sure, and I say this respectfully, Mayor, and we've had this discussion, permits are not homes. Yes, we can issue permits, but we want to see real results like you've shown here this year. So seeing homes built, foundations in the ground, knowing that we're going to get roofs over people's heads is ultimately the goal, and we're going to get that done. But we'll work with our partners, our municipal partners, and make sure the program is fair, but still has some stretch to it to get results. Thank you.
Let me add something.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I'll just add to that. I want to thank Minister Flack for his engagements at the AMO conference and the announcement that they're willing to look at the criteria for the Building Faster Fund. It's something that myself and mayors across the province have been asking for. We're absolutely committed to building housing. We want to get the money. We want to put it in the ground. We want to help support housing. And I think what we have here is a minister who said, totally hear you. We get it. We're going to make some adjustments. But ultimately, we're still going to be focused on providing the right investments that actually get homes built. I fully agree with the minister and the premier. We can do a lot of permissions, but those permissions don't allow people to live in homes. And so I want to thank the minister for the open dialogue and engagement that he's had on the types of creative things that we are trying to do as municipalities across the province. So we here at the City of London have opened up new incentive programs to try to turn those permissions into actual homes, like our office residential conversion program. And one of the things you can see over my shoulder here with the building that has the windows being under construction, that's a vacant office building that will now have hundreds of units of homes, or about 100 units of homes in that building right there. It's under construction now. It's part of our incentive program, and we're turning that vacant office space into homes. We have about 180,000 square feet of vacant office space that now we have applications and approvals for developers to turn those into places to live in our downtown core. That's just one example of a number of incentive programs we put forward. The minister is really open to hearing about the types of creative things that municipalities are doing to turn those permissions into units. We've got a transit incentive. We've got a CIP waiver program. I think the discussions ahead are going to be great, and I look forward to what the minister ultimately comes up with in future iterations of the fund. And again, I thank him for his openness to listening to municipalities about how we can best work together to maximize the use of those dollars and get houses built.
Well, there goes all my answers.
I was about to say, hopefully you don't need
not
that.
that I ever follow these sheets, but they try to keep me in line.
For either the premier or the minister. On the other end of the housing spectrum, we have the heart hubs. London's was set to open in the spring. There was an election, but is there any update on when that could possibly be coming to London?
There is, and you can follow up, and we just talked about this before I came out. So hopefully we'll be able to get that going. I know the funding's flowing to you, Mayor, and everything should be going. I wish it could have happened a little earlier, but it's going to happen this fall. But either one of you want to?
So a promise made is a promise kept, and as the mayor and I have talked, Minister Jones, I think, wrote you 2 weeks ago, and Deputy Premier wrote, and it's a commitment. It's going to flow, I believe, in September, October, and better late than never, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I can. On this, and thanks again for the question, Jack. This is something that we're committed to. I appreciate that the Minister of Health, Deputy Premier, was here in the city. Premier Ford was here in the city when we talked about announcing this government funding. First off, I want to commend the government for putting over $500 million now into a program that will not just help London, but municipalities across this province create spaces for people who need to come out of encampments and off our streets and into places with the proper care and treatment that they need. So first off, I commend them on that. Two, I want to thank the Premier for meeting with me on this individually, talking about the need to get this money flowing and for the action he's taken to ensure that that promise made is a promise kept. And as Minister Flack said, Don't have a specific date yet, but within the forthcoming month or so, we should be able to, with the Ministry of Health, make an announcement on the opening date for that with our lead partner CMHA, who's critical on this. So the money is coming, the approvals have been made, and we're just waiting for the announcement and the date to start, and that'll be announced very soon.
That's great. Are those church bells for me or you?
You.
Oh, okay. Well, I need a lot of praying, I'll tell you. Okay.
Hi, Premier Ford. Kendra Segan from CBC London.
Yes.
I wanted to check in with you about another story out of London. We're hoping to seek some more clarity about your thoughts on the dog testing out of St. Joseph's Hospital. We know that you spoke out against it. It has since ended. Did you order that to end?
Well, I discouraged it. You know, you can't be experimenting on dogs. They're part of our families. They're cats. You know, go with the mice, go with the rats, no problem. But these are pets, and no, it's done. You can't do it anymore. Now I'm going to start looking for everyone else. If there's anyone else out there that's doing this to animals, come clean, because we're going to catch you. And it's just terrible. You can tell I'm an animal lover, but it's just terrible what they're doing. And thank you for that applause, whoever just gave me that. Thank you, buddy. You gotta protect our animals,
And just a
our
follow-up.
pets. Yes.
Yeah, just a follow-up question on that as well. I know you mentioned in Windsor that you're planning to introduce some legislation. Can you
Yes.
explain a little bit more about the criteria that you're planning to look at and what that legislation is going to look like?
Well, legislation will be pretty short and simple. You aren't going to use pets, dogs or cats, to experiment on any longer. Simple as that. We just don't do that. It's cruel and it's unacceptable. I can't believe they got away with that this long, and I got to thank the whistleblower that sent me pictures and texted me and everything else. That person's a champion. Unfortunately, she's lost her job, and not because they know who it is. I don't know. It's frustrating. Anyways, we got to find her a job.
That was our last question, and that concludes our media availability today.
Okay, thanks everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you.